Chapter 1017. Kanji, this is... Su Yin wanted to say that this was his little nephew, but she thought that the word nephew might be a little difficult for Kanji at this moment, so she changed her words. This is little Xingxing. We've seen him in the video before, right? Yeah. When Kanji heard Su Yin say that, he smiled even more happily. His little chubby hand kept patting Su Yin's leg to express his joy at finally seeing his little friend. Compared to Kanji's liveliness when he saw his little friend, little Xingxing was much calmer. He pulled out the pacifier in his mouth and also called out to Kanji. Woo-woo, yeah. Woo-woo-woo. Yeah. Woo-woo-woo-woo. Yeah. In an instant, there was only the sound of the two little ones arguing in the room. It was clearly just two children blindly calling out. In the eyes of the few people, for some reason, it felt as if they had a common language with children. They also knew what the other party was saying, but the adults could not understand. Uff. Su Yin looked at the two cute little ones and could not help but laugh out loud. When the others heard her laugh, they suddenly woke up and laughed as well. With this laugh, the unhappiness caused by the topic just now instantly disappeared. Qin Shuru walked over with a face full of smiles. She picked up her son and said, "It seems like Kanji likes Xingxing very much. When Xingxing came, he learned to stand on his own without a teacher." Su Yin was surprised. Is this his first time standing? Yes, today is his first time. That's very fast. Xingxing just turned over a few days ago, and he hasn't grown teeth yet. I just saw that Kanji seems to have 4 or 5 teeth. The top 2 and the bottom 2 have both popped out. Now, he's growing the rest. The two new mothers talked about their children for a while, and their mood eased a lot. When old Master Chung saw that everyone's expressions had returned to normal, he coughed lightly and changed the topic. Other than that, what else did they say? Everyone's eyes fell on Su Yin. Su Yin let out a long sigh and said, "Other than my uncle and aunt, they also talked about my mom and dad." Chung Xiuqin's face darkened. Thinking of what Su Yin had just said about ending his family line, he knew that nothing good would come out of this family's filthy mouth. What did he say about us? They say that you're just lucky. You were reincarnated into Grandma's womb, and you were born a rich young lady. It was a pity that she didn't have good taste. She had taken a fancy to a penniless and nameless grassroots like her father. It's only because Grandpa is rich and Uncle is capable. Otherwise, how could you live such a good life if you only relied on Dad? He even said, "What else did you say?" Chung Xiuqin's face had completely darkened. These words were not only about her, but also about her husband. This was what Chung Xiuqin could not tolerate. He also said that it's only because Dad has no money and no power that he doesn't dare to offend Grandpa and Uncle. Otherwise, if he really became rich, he would definitely kick you aside and find those young and beautiful women. When Father Su heard this, his face finally changed. He was angry and flustered, and he said helplessly, "Don't listen to her nonsense. I only love you. Whether you have money or not, I only love you. I don't like those young and beautiful women." Chung Xiuqin was originally very angry, but when he heard his father's words, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "I'm not angry about that." Chapter 1018. She was angry because that gossipy woman had seen through her man too clearly. A narrow-minded person would look at everything with a tinted glass, especially when they were extremely jealous. They couldn't see the truth at all. They only believed what they wanted to believe, as if this was the only way to comfort their inferior and ugly hearts. That woman only saw that Father Su's business was getting more and more prosperous after he married Chung Xiuqin, but she didn't see how much hardship and effort Father Su and Chung Xiuqin had suffered in the early days of their business. She was even more selective and blind, turning a blind eye to the decades of love between Father Su and Chung Xiuqin. With just a few words, she negated other people's business and feelings. It could be said that she was really jealous. Su Yin looked at her angry parents and lowered her eyes. What she said was not a lie. In her previous life, Chung Fenglong's matter was exposed, and he was severely beaten by Huo Chenhuan. He went from a department executive with an annual salary of millions to a crippled, homeless man who no one would take a second look at on the side of the road. Chung Fenglong's mother couldn't accept that the son she had always been proud of had become like this. She went crazy and said a lot of truth, including this. Su Yiyin couldn't tell whether she was so angry that she didn't choose her words carefully or simply said all the things in her heart. Anyway, with her temperament, if she could say such words, even if it was deliberate revenge and deliberately exaggerated the curse, she must have had such thoughts in her heart before, so she could say it so smoothly. After ridiculing me and Shuaru for not having children and that we would have no descendants in this life, she eccentrically cursed my sister and brother-in-law for not having a good relationship and that they would divorce sooner or later. This kind of person is actually a relative of the same surname. Those who don't know will think that we dug up their ancestral grave. Su Yuxuan rolled his eyes and reminded, "Uncle, strictly speaking, their ancestral grave seems to be the same as ours." Chung Juanhao choked and glared at his eldest nephew angrily. At this time, shouldn't they be united against a common enemy and united against an external enemy? How can you expose my shortcomings like this? Su Yuxuan, was he wrong to speak the truth? Old Master Chung glared at his son and was also very angry. She still thinks that it's retribution for Junhao and Shuaru not being able to have children? What kind of heinous things did our family do to deserve such retribution? At the very least, even if our family has any retribution, it's not up to them to make irresponsible remarks. Dad, you may think that way, but I may not think so. Chung Xiuqin sneered. Didn't you hear what Yin Yin said just now? She's looking forward to the end of our family's bloodline, so that all our assets will go to the cats and dogs outside. Wasn't their family one of these cats and dogs? Dad, have you forgotten how this family shamelessly tried to take advantage of us back then? With Chung Xiuqin's reminder, old Master Cheng's face darkened, and he hit the walking stick in his hand twice. Obviously, he was disgusted by that distant memory. Chung Juanhao and the others also came to a realization. After all this time, this family was jealous and cursing their family. They were simply eyeing their family's assets and wanted to kill them and replace them at any time. Based on this logic, they did have sufficient motive. Hua Chenhuan had been listening to their discussion quietly. After a moment of consideration, she said coldly, "Actually, after the 1-month-old celebration, this woman sent me something through the company's internal email." Chapter 1019. Everyone's eyes turned to Hua Chenhuan. What did she send you? Why didn't I know about it? Hua Chenhuan glanced at Su Yiyin. It's all nonsense. You'll only get angry if you read it. Su Yiyin looked suspicious. So what exactly is it? She suspects that you cheated on me. As soon as Hua Chenhuan said this, everyone looked as if they had seen a ghost and stared at him in shock. You mean she thinks I cheated on you? Hua Chenhuan was amused by Su Yiyin's shocked and confused expression. He reached out to scratch her nose and smiled faintly. Not only does she suspect that you cheated on me, but she also suspects that our baby is the evidence that you cheated on me. What? Su Yiyin exclaimed. Is there something wrong with her brain? I think so too. Su Yuxuan also reacted at this time. So, she sent you those things because she thought she had caught Yin Yin cheating on her and reported it to your husband who was cheated on. She wanted you to find trouble with Yin Yin? Yes. Chung Xiuqin's expression didn't look good, but he was still a little confused. Why would she suddenly send this to Chenhuan? Did she hear any rumors outside? Su Yiyin was a little depressed when she heard this. When did she send it to you? Not long after Kanji's full moon ceremony. Kanji's full moon ceremony. Su Yiyin's eyes were slightly cold. During Kanji's full moon ceremony, Chenhuan and I met Chung Fenglang at the banquet. When old Master Chung and the others heard Su Yiyin's words, their expressions changed. You met him. Did he do anything? What did he do? He just ran over to say hello to us and left after a few words. Oh, right. Su Yiyin smiled as she spoke and turned to look at Hua Chenhuan. He looked a little bad when he left. Maybe he was a little full from watching our public display of affection. Su Yuxuan had just picked up a cup and was about to drink some water to calm herself down when she heard this. However, old Master Cheng seemed to think of something. He stared at Su Yiyin with a serious expression for a long time and asked tentatively, "Yin Yin, do you already know that he likes me, right?" When Su Yiyin said that, Su Yuxuan was the one who reacted the most. "What? He likes you? Cheng Fenglang likes you? Is he stupid? You are cousins. How can he like you? Is he a pervert? They're just cousins in name. They're not related by blood. Even if you are not related by blood, in the eyes of outsiders, you are still close relatives. Brother, aren't you being too sincere? I'm not going to be with him. What does his thoughts have to do with me? It doesn't affect me." Su Yuxuan choked, but he was still a little indignant. "I just think that it's dangerous and disgusting for him to have such thoughts about you." Su Yuxuan was a few years older than Su Yiyin. He knew more about the evil things that Cheng Fenglong's family had done in the past than Su Yiyin. Because of this, he really did not have a good impression of this family. Although the adults said that the children should not be implicated in what the adults did and the family did, the children should not be prejudiced against the children of the same age. However, Su Yuxuan was inevitably led astray. Now that he learned that Cheng Fenglang had actually had ulterior motives towards his sister, his impression of him plummeted to the bottom. Chapter 10:20. Yin Yin met Fenglang at the banquet. Not long after that, Fenglang's mother sent something like this to Yin Yin. Qin Shiweru pondered. Could it be that he was provoked by the two of you and deliberately went back to talk nonsense, making his mother really think that you, not necessarily? Su Yuxuan touched his chin and looked at Huo Chenhuan. Before Chenhuan, Su Yuxuan paused. He knew that his sister didn't like others to say that Huo Chenhuan was disabled, so he had to find another word. His legs weren't very good before, but they've recovered now. According to what Yin Yin said just now, this family, especially Cheng Fenglong's mother, can't bear to see others living better than them. She might have gossiped about Chenhuan's legs. When she heard Cheng Fenglang mention the two of them and heard that Chenhuan's legs were fine, wouldn't she think more? Cheng Xiuqin only felt that it was ridiculous. Are they fools? Why didn't they think about it? If Chenhuan was really Yin Yin's man, how could she casually bring him out in public like our kanji's 1-month-old banquet? Do they really think that everyone is as shameless as them? Who knows? The thoughts of idiots are always more unexpected than we think. Unexpected idiocy. Su Yiyin listened to his brother's analysis and felt that it was very possible. Wasn't Cheng Fenglong's mother the kind of person who couldn't bear to see others living well and use the most despicable thoughts to think of others? It was clearly her family's insatiable greed that caused their lives to be worse day by day. In her eyes, it was others who owed her. Not only did she unilaterally make enemies with others, but she also thought that others must have a bad life. As long as they didn't have a good life, she would be happy. It was normal for such a person to think that she had cheated on her husband just because of a few words from Cheng Fenglang. How do you know that she sent these things to you? Is that woman so stupid that she reported it with a real name? No. Huo Chenhuan's eyes flashed with a cold light, and she chuckled. She reported it anonymously. But since she sent me so many things, I have to know who's behind it. So, you got someone to investigate? Then after you're done, since we found out who did it, this matter won't be over so easily. Su Yiyin's heart trembled, but he seemed to understand something. What did you do? Doesn't she like to gossip? I got someone to poison her and make her mute. Huo Chenhuan's words shocked everyone. Even Su Yiyin was a little surprised. She knew that Huo Chenhuan would not let the culprit off so easily, but she did not expect him to be so ruthless. Also, anything else? Not only did she gossip, but she also slandered you. It's too easy for her to just poison her to mute. Cheng Xiuqin and the others felt that what he said made sense. To put it nicely, some people were jealous and couldn't bear to see others doing well, so they deliberately gossiped behind others' backs and tried to sow discord in the relationship between husband and wife. However, if it was serious, it would be deliberately spreading rumors to tarnish Su Yiyin's reputation and break up their relationship as husband and wife. Fortunately, It was Hua Chenhuan who was with Su Yiyin that day. If it were someone else, they might have talked about something that didn't exist. Thinking of this, they immediately felt that Hua Chenhuan did not go too far. They even felt that he should have gone even further. Su Yiyin felt that he must have done something more serious than making her mute by mentioning this at the end. "What did you do?" Chapter 10:21. Actually, it's nothing much. I'm just giving her a taste of her own medicine, Hua Chenhuan said with a smile. Doesn't she like to slander others and sow discord between husband and wife? It can be seen that although she is married and has given birth to such a big son, she still has a heart full of longing for an outsider. So, I'll fulfill her wish. Hua Chenhuan did not really want to do anything to that woman. He only planned to let people get close to her and take a few specious photos to send to her husband. Cheng Fenlong's father was indeed cowardly and incompetent, but as long as he was a man with a temper, he would not be able to accept the fact that he had a green grassland above his head. As a result, a few months ago, this family had been in a state of chaos and was on the verge of breaking apart. He did not expect that they still had the strength to play tricks behind the scenes. Thinking of this, Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed coldly. If this matter had nothing to do with them, then so be it. But if it really had something to do with them, he did not mind breaking up their family. Su Yiyin saw Hua Chenhuan's expression and knew what he was thinking. In a daze, she saw Hua Chenhuan in her previous life, who had lost everything and tried his best to kill those culprits who had harmed her. Instinctively, she reached out to hold Hua Chenhuan's hand and said with a faint smile, "Although I'm very happy that you've done all this for me, but next time, I hope that you can tell me earlier." Hua Chenhuan saw that Su Yiyin was not angry at him for acting on his own accord, and a warm smile appeared in his eyes. He replied in a low voice, "Okay." Seeing that the couple had come to a conclusion, the few people beside them did not say anything else. According to what Yin Yin said, this family could really do such a thing. But Jun had already listened to Yin Yin's words and did not let Cheng Fenglang enter the company. How did he? If a person wants to do evil, there are many ways. Although he did not enter Uncle's company, as long as he can contact the employees in Uncle's company. Are you suspecting that there's a mole in the company? When Su Yuxuan heard this, he couldn't help but interject. I think it's very likely that there's a traitor in the company for something like this to happen at this juncture. It was just that there was no definite evidence whether this matter was related to Cheng Fenglang or not, so it was hard to conclude. However, since their family is so envious of our family and can't wait for us to die without descendants, then hand over our family property to them. Even if this matter had nothing to do with them, they might have done something else behind the scenes. It's not a big deal to check. That's true. Su Yuxuan's words received the support of everyone present. After confirming the direction of the investigation, the few of them did not continue this topic. Su Yiyin could tell that the old man was not in a good mood, so she handed the babies over to Cheng Xiuqin and asked her and Qin Shiuru to take the two children to accompany the old man and make him happy. He went into the small kitchen and prepared to cook a big meal with his own hands, using the delicious food to comfort the frightened elders. Before he started, he did not forget to turn on the live stream. The audience in Su Yiyin's live stream was already used to Su Yiyin's surprise attacks from time to time. Even if Su Yiyin did not do a preview, every time she started a live stream, countless viewers who had set up priority notifications would rush over as quickly as possible and push it to the most conspicuous position on the homepage. This time was no exception. I just finished class, and I found out that the streamers started a live stream. I'm so happy. This is the first time I've watched the streamer's live stream when a number of viewers has not exceeded 10,000. I'll take a screenshot as a memento. This background, did the streamer go to play at her relative's house again? Chapter 10:22. Su Yiyin smiled when she saw the message. Yeah, it just so happens that I'm on vacation these few days. I brought the baby back to see the elders. As soon as she said that, the screen was filled with messages begging the baby to appear on the screen. Su Yiyin smiled and had no intention of letting the child appear on screen. Fortunately, more viewers soon flooded in, and these messages were covered by new ones. The medicine packs that Su Yiyin had recommended in the broadcast room were selling very well recently. Of course, there were one or two people who followed the trend and ordered the medicine packs. However, Su Yiyin had already considered this point. Just like the Chinese herbs that were sold before, the packaging of these medicine packs clearly stated the main purpose in taboo groups. As long as people came to make trouble, they would ask for a medical report. If there was a problem with the right symptoms, they would pay. If they knew that they couldn't eat it, then they deserved it. They didn't care. As it turned out, Su Yiyin was very prescient. After that, there were indeed a few people who caused trouble after eating the medicine packs in the restaurant. In the end, they were in the wrong and had to pay for it. Not only did it not affect the reputation of the medicinal cuisine restaurant, but it also attracted more people's attention to the restaurant and medicine packs. The sales did not decrease, but increased. After the medicine packs became popular for a while, the people who wanted to buy them had already bought them. Today, the audience in the broadcast room was more curious about the new scar removal ointment in the medicinal cuisine restaurant. Streamer, can the new scar removal ointment in your restaurant really remove scars? Is it also made by the streamer with Chinese herbs? A few days ago, I accidentally fell and cut my chin. The doctor said that it will definitely leave a scar. Although it's not easy to see it on the chin, it's still ugly to have a scar on the face. Streamer, is your scar removal ointment useful for burning scars? I have a younger sister who accidentally burned her thigh and calf when she was boiling water when she was young. It's such a big scar that she doesn't dare to wear a skirt until now. Streamer. Su Yiyin looked at the screen full of questions and pondered for a moment. She deliberated for a while and made a conclusion. The scar removal ointment in the restaurant is indeed a private product of our restaurant. It can indeed remove scars. It's basically suitable for both big and small scars. It's just that small scars take effect faster and require more treatment. For large scars such as burns, it may take a longer time for the treatment to take effect compared to other scars. Apart from that, the new scars that were left behind recently took effect faster because the skin texture was relatively more active. If it was an old scar, it would take a longer time to recover. You might have scars of the same size, but if someone else uses 1 bottle, you have to use 2 bottles. If someone else uses 1 month, you have to use 2 months. That's the specific difference. The inquiring audience members were all very excited when they received the confirmation. It was no wonder that they had doubts about the scar removal ointment. Most of the ointment purchased in Su Yiyin's shop were related to food. Think even those medicine packets had to be brought back and stewed with other ingredients to be eaten. Out of nowhere, a scar removal ointment appeared. Many people suspected that their streamer had begun to sell other people's goods like other internet celebrities. In addition, some anti-fans and competitors who sold scar removal and beauty products deliberately stirred things up and questioned the efficacy of this ointment. This caused this ointment to be on the shelves for 2 days with mediocre sales. It was not as popular as the previous ointment packs. Chapter 1023. Xiao Kai was a small streamer in the makeup section of Onlooker. Her ID was Kai Kaizi. She would do makeup online and try out colors when she had nothing to do. Because of her delicate facial features and straightforward personality, she had attracted a lot of fans in the past 2 or 3 years and became a famous streamer in the makeup section. The top girl in the gourmet section next door appeared out of nowhere and dominated almost all the recommendation banners on the website. Many streamers in other sections were hostile to her and envious of her. Xiao Kai didn't feel anything. First of all, the two of them were in different sections and didn't have too much direct conflict. Second, she actually liked to eat. However, they were both streamers and Su Yiyin was many times more popular than her. It was easy to be said that chasing stars with a main account would be easy for people to say that she was sticking to Su Yiyin. She only dared to open a side account and secretly stay in Su Yiyin's live broadcast room to be a humble audience who sent flowers every day. This stalemate finally had a subtle turn for the better after the scar removal ointment appeared in Su Yiyin's store. After the scar removal ointment was put up for sale in the medicinal cuisine restaurant and the official website, Xiao Kai immediately bought a few bottles and released a notice that she would do an open box trial after she got the ointment. As a result, the order was placed at noon, and Xiao Kai received the finished product that night. She started the live broadcast as promised. Today, I'm bringing you the scar removal ointment that was recently put up for sale in the Carnival restaurant. I just bought on the official website this morning, and it will arrive in the afternoon. First, I'll open the box for everyone to check the goods. After that, I'll do a trial run. As soon as Xiao Kai finished speaking, a few unfriendly comments appeared on the bullet screen. Carnival restaurant? A new beauty brand? I've never heard of it. Is the streamer casually looking for some unbranded products to promote in order to make money? Aren't you afraid that you'll ruin your reputation? I want to search around and only know that there's a restaurant called Carnival Restaurant that sells scar removal beauty products. This is the funniest joke I've heard this year. I thought that the streamer was different from the other streamers in the makeup section. She wouldn't make money as soon as she became popular. Now, it seems that I was naive. Forget about the previous ones. After all, they were well-known brands with a good reputation. Now it's worse. She even pulled this unbranded brand that we don't know if it has quality assurance into the live broadcast room. She misled the fans to increase the sales of these unbranded products. Are you worthy of us, the fans who trusted you wholeheartedly? You really don't care about your face for the sake of money. I'm unsubscribing. Xiao Kai's face darkened when he saw these comments, but he didn't back down because of this. These so-called audience members who were clamoring to quit being fans were most likely opponents or haters pretending to be fans. When she first started live streaming, she had a glass heart. She wondered if she had really done something wrong to let down the people who liked her. Later on, after experiencing more, she realized that some people in this world hated you for no specific reason. They only hated you because they hated you. No matter how well you do or how hard you work, they can find thousands of reasons to deny your hard work and excellence. The best way to deal with such people was to ignore them and not even look at them. Xiao Kai calmed himself down and smiled faintly. This is the first time I've done such a time-sensitive evaluation, so please forgive me if I don't do well. All right, let's not waste time. Let's open the chests. Xiao Kai said as she opened the box. There were 3 bottles of scar removal ointment in the box, each containing about 100 grams. Chapter 10:24. There was a simple but elegant little box on the outside. After opening it, there was an exquisite glass bottle with a simple appearance. Only the words Carnival Restaurant could be vaguely seen. The ointment was a refreshing light green color. It was cold to the touch and quite comfortable. There were 2 scars on Xiao Kai's body. One was on her face. It was a pox mark that she couldn't help but scratch when she had acne as a child. There were 4 or 5 of them, distributed all over her face. They weren't particularly obvious. However, as a makeup streamer, she often had no makeup on during her live broadcasts. When the camera zoomed in, these marks were very obvious. In the beginning, it was still okay. Her face was a little blurry, and the audience was more tolerant. No one said anything about the pox marks on her face. They only paid attention to her makeup and the makeup products she used. When she became a little more popular, her popularity increased, and the number of viewers increased. All kinds of people began to flood into the live broadcast room. Gradually, people began to talk about the acne marks on her face. Some anti-fans even deliberately gave her a black nickname, Acne Girl Streamer. The other mark was on her arm. It was a long and deep cut from a relative's naughty child a few months ago. There was a lot of blood at the time, and Xiao Kai's parents were so scared that they almost fainted on the spot. Although she was sent to the hospital in time to save her life, an ugly scar was left on her arm. After that, the relative took a basket of fruits to the hospital. He was trying to excuse his son, saying that the child was naughty and that adults shouldn't be too calculated with him. However, Xiao Kai and Xiao Kai's parents were so angry that they fell out with that person on the spot. From then on, they never contacted each other again. It was said that not long ago, the naughty child was involved in another murder case. This time, it wasn't a small quarrel between relatives. The victim's family had some power and was determined to get to the bottom of it. Unfortunately, 2 days before the murder, the naughty child just happened to be an adult. The best outcome was that he would be imprisoned for 10 to 20 years. At the same time, his family would have to bear a huge amount of compensation. That family only had one child in 3 generations. How could they watch him be ruined like this? It was said that they had been running around to borrow money and ask for help. When Xiao Kai heard this, he was neither sad nor happy. While his anger had been vented, he also felt a little relieved. Fortunately, they had long since cut off all pretense of cordiality with his family. Whether they lived or died now, it had nothing to do with them. Back to the topic at hand. The scar on Xiao Kai's arm was less than a year old, and it was a light pink color. Compared to this scar, the acne marks on his face were brown and slightly sunken. It says on the outside box that old scars take effect more slowly than new scars, and big scars take effect more slowly than small scars. The scars on my face and hands are old and new, big and small. For the next half a month, I will be broadcasting on time every day. Babies, pay attention to the changes in my scars. As Xiao Kai spoke, she applied the scar removal ointment evenly on her arm. The ointment feels cool on the skin. After that, let's put on some makeup and see if the ointment has any allergic reactions to the skin. This was what most girls would do when trying on cosmetics, especially facial masks. First, they would use the ointment on their hands for a period of time. After making sure that there wouldn't be any allergic reactions, they would apply it to their face. During this process, the live broadcast room would occasionally have a few comments cursing her rotten face. Xiao Kai saw them, but didn't care. Chapter 1025. After Su Yiyin advertised her store's scar removal ointment in the live stream room, she threw the matter to the back of her mind. About 3 or 4 days later, she suddenly received a call from the store telling her that all the scar removal ointment in the store had been sold out. Should she restock now, or wait a little longer? Su Yiyin was a little surprised when she heard this. She had only put the ointment in the store to test the waters. In fact, there weren't many finished products produced. Another thing was that a few cosmetics companies might have realized that Su Yiyin had a tendency to develop into beauty products and felt a sense of crisis. They had hired several groups of ghostwriters to criticize her in advance. They had even begun to secretly slander some of the products that were selling well in her store. It wasn't that Su Yiyin didn't know about these things, but everyone's attention had been focused on what had happened to the Chung family recently. For the time being, she couldn't find the time to deal with these people. In the end, she hadn't even had the time to deal with these people yet, and the matter had already been resolved by itself. Su Yiyin was puzzled, so she simply logged into her account. The first thing she saw was a real-time hot topic tag that said, "God Scar Removal Ointment, you deserve it." When she clicked on it, she realized that a beauty blogger on their website had reviewed their scar removal ointment and had even given a staged recovery. The most important thing was that after the blogger had used the scar removal ointment, not only had the scar really faded, but even her skin had improved a lot. Su Yiyin, my ointment has such an effect, and I didn't even know about it. Xiao Kai, who was doing the review, obviously didn't expect such a pleasant surprise. She endured the cynicism and ridicule of the ghostwriters and anti-fans for 3 days, and the small acne marks on her face had obvious changes. They had faded a lot. The scratches on her arms were more serious than the small acne marks. But if she compared them with the photos from the first day, she would see that the originally hideous scars had faded a lot. The color was also gradually getting closer to the color of the surrounding skin. When Xiao Kai realized that the scars on her hands and face had really changed, she was very happy. She felt that she hadn't been a fan of the wrong person, and she worked even harder to review the ointment. However, her initial focus was still on removing the scars, and she didn't think about other aspects. On the 8th morning of the review, Xiao Kai's mother casually asked, "Have you been staying up late, less recently? My complexion looks much better, and my skin feels better too." Xiao Kai was also taken aback by her mother's words, and she reflexively touched her own face. She didn't know if it was just a figment of her imagination, but she couldn't help but feel that the skin on her face had improved a little. One had to know that because she had to work during the day and stream at night, she had to put on and remove her makeup every day until the latter half of the night. Naturally, her skin became rougher and rougher. When she didn't put on makeup, it looked fine from afar, but up close, it was a little bad. This was also one of the reasons why her anti-fans liked to criticize her. How could a beauty blogger become a beauty blogger if her skin wasn't good enough? At first, Xiaokai didn't pay much attention to it. She thought that the acne marks on her face had faded, and her skin looked much better than before. A few days later, about a week after her first livestream, many viewers in Xiaokai's livestream finally began to realize this. Discussions about her skin's sudden improvement also began to increase. There were even a few die-hard fans who worked together to compile screenshots of Xiaokai's skin condition during her live broadcast this week. Chapter 1026. Originally, she didn't think much of it as she watched it day by day. However, now that she was suddenly compared to a week ago, even Xiaokai herself realized that something was wrong. Her skin really did seem to have improved a lot. Others might not know, but Xiaokai knew very well. Although she also used some skincare products, she only used a few all year round. She knew very well how effective they were. The only variable in this week's time was that bottle of scar removal ointment. This discovery surprised Xiaokai. Seeing that more and more people in the live broadcast room were asking about it, she didn't hide it. She told everyone about her guess in front of the many viewers in the live broadcast room. As expected, Suyiyin Store's scar removal ointment, which didn't sell very well, was completely sold out. It wasn't like there weren't any paid posters in Xiaokai's live broadcast room. They mocked Xiaokai for falsely advertising a product that had no reputation and no safety guarantee. However, the changes she had experienced over the past week were real. The comparison photos compiled by her fans were also real. Facts spoke louder than words. Moreover, for some people, the temptation of becoming more beautiful was greater than anything else. Even if some makeup companies had the foresight to use explosion-proof products, it still didn't stop these people from giving Su Yiyin money. Su Yiyin glanced at the beautiful streamer in the video who was trying her best to promote her company's scar removal ointment and praise her company's ointment as if it was the best in the world. For a moment, she even suspected that this was a new trick that the other company had come up with to flatter their shop. In the end, what really dispelled Su Yiyin's doubts was the feedback sent by Lian Nam. Long before the Carnival restaurant put the ointment on sale, Su Yiyin had sent a copy to Lian Nam. However, Lian Nam's burns were quite serious. The scars on Xiaokai's body paled in comparison. Relatively speaking, the ointment took longer to take effect. When Su Yiyin received a call from the Li family, the first thing she heard was a woman crying. "Is this Miss Su?" Su Yiyin was taken aback by her attitude. After a few seconds of silence, she said, "I am. May I ask who you are?" "Hello, Miss Su. I'm Anan's mother, so it's Mrs. Li." Su Yiyin raised her eyebrows. "Mrs. Li suddenly called me. Did something happen to Miss Li? Is it because the ointment I sent over didn't work?" No. The ointment Miss Su sent is useful, very useful." As Mrs. Li spoke, she began to sob. She couldn't come up with a reason for a long time. Su Yiyin was also confused. Since it worked, what was there to cry about? Could it be that Miss Li's mother didn't want her daughter to recover soon and live a normal life? Before Su Yiyin could think further, the person on the other end of the phone had already changed. "Miss Su." Su Yiyin immediately recognized Li and Nam's voice. "Yes, my mother was a little emotional just now. I hope she didn't offend you. Miss Li is too polite. It's not an offense. However, Mrs. Su and Miss Su suddenly called me. What's the matter? Actually, it's not a big deal. I've used the ointment Miss Su sent over. The effect is better than expected. Thank you very much. Also, I've decided to follow Miss Su's previous suggestion and undergo plastic surgery. After the surgery, I'll need Miss Su's help, and Nan will be very grateful." Chapter 1027. Su Yiyin immediately understood. No wonder Mrs. Su was so excited that she was about to cry. This girl had finally thought things through and was willing to undergo the surgery. "Miss Lee, I'm glad you've thought things through. I'll do my best." Before this, when Su Yin said this, Li Nam would only think that she was deliberately evading the responsibility. She was deliberately vague and left some leeway for those who couldn't cure her but couldn't bear to part with her family's compensation. However, after seeing the effects of the ointment and seeing the obvious fading of the scars, Li Nam's heart, which had been dead for a long time, finally gave birth to a glimmer of hope. Maybe she really could have a chance to change her appearance and stand in front of everyone with a new attitude and continue her former dream. Su Yin and Li Nam exchanged a few more words and decided on a time to meet again before hanging up the phone. Gold would always shine. Because of Xiao Kai's promotion, the scar removal ointment in the medicinal cuisine restaurant was out of stock for a while before it was back on the shelves. At this time, the first batch of customers also posted their real feedback. In an instant, the restaurant's name once again swept through various public circles of friends. The restaurant specialized in managing public accounts. Usually, other than the time to draw numbers, the waitresses were basically free. Inevitably, they were bombarded by countless customers who wanted to buy the scar removal ointment. Even some of the more famous actors in the industry came over and secretly used their status to help the waitresses prepare the next batch of ointment that had not yet been put on the shelves. One had to know that actors, especially those who filmed period dramas, had to be strong and oppressive. Even the martial arts actors who personally filmed the action scenes had scars on their bodies. It would be fine if the scars were in places that couldn't be seen, but if the scars were on the face, then it would be a big problem. Now that there was a ready-made scar removal ointment, people, regardless of whether they had scars on their bodies or not, wanted to at least stock up on a few bottles. Those with scars could be removed, and those without scars could even be beautified. There were many people who had such thoughts. This also led to a period of time where the supply of this ointment could not meet the demand. Regardless of whether they were rushing to buy or making reservations, all of them acted as if they owned a mine and threw money at Su Yin's shop. Cheng Juanhao still had shares in this store. Originally, because of the malicious report this time, although it was clarified that he had been slandered and that the company was innocent, because those unscrupulous media outlets had received money to beat the rhythm, there were still some people who were led by the nose. Before the truth was found out, they had already made some boycotts. It still caused some losses to the company that were hard to make up for, and Cheng Juanhao was in a terrible fix. He was vexed about whether he should give up his old face and borrow some money from his relatives. Now that the money was in place, everything could be discussed. Cheng Juanhao no longer had to worry about whether or not to borrow money and how to borrow money. The company could also be revived. Cheng Juanhao felt relieved. He looked at his niece more kindly, as if he was looking at a gold mine that was about to jump into his pocket. "Su Yin, don't stare at me like that, it's scary." Everything that had happened in the Cheng family was frightening but not dangerous. At the same time, there were two other pieces of good news. One was that the evidence that Hua Qinhuan had asked Yu Zian and the others to retrieve from the research institute had been recovered. With this evidence, not only could they wash away the dirty water that had been poured on Master Cheng, but they could also send the person who had made the false accusation directly to jail. Besides this, the other piece of good news was that the matter that Su Yin had asked Cheng Juanhao and the others to investigate had taken shape. Chapter 1028. Just as she had expected, Cheng Juanhao had something to do with this incident. There was indeed a mole in Cheng Juanhao's company. However, Cheng Fenglang did not manage to enter the company and become a senior executive, so he could only contact a limited number of senior executives. The mole he found was just a team leader of a department in the company. He could not get in touch with the core of the company, and it was impossible for him to fabricate a series of false evidence to implicate Cheng Juanhao's company like in her previous life. What really surprised Su Yin and the others was that Cheng Juanhao was not the only person behind this. There was another person, an old acquaintance. Song Yinyuan? How could it be her? When everyone heard Su Yin's words, they suddenly looked up. Yin, do you know her? Su Yiyin subconsciously turned to look at Hua Chenhuan. Hua Chenhuan was also surprised to hear this name. He was silent for a while before he said in a deep voice, "She is the daughter of the Song family." The Song family? Which Song family? Su Yiyin knew that he was embarrassed to say it, so he snorted and explained on his behalf. "What Song family? Just say that she used to be your suitor." What? When the elders present heard this, their eyes swept over Hua Chenhuan like searchlights. It was as if they wanted to poke him into a sieve on the spot. Hua Chenhuan felt a lot of pressure under the stares of the elders. He braced himself and said, "She used to be my suitor. I don't like her, and I've never been nice to her." Yin Yin can testify to this. Chang Xiuqin raised his eyebrows and looked at his daughter. Really? Really? She pestered Chenhuan before the incident with his family and wanted to marry him. Later, Chenhuan's legs had problems, and something happened to his family Hua. She ran away faster than anyone else and moved the whole family abroad. Su Yuxuan narrowed her eyes and instantly caught the loophole in her sister's words. "Since you pestered him before the accident, and you didn't know him at that time, how did you know this?" This. Su Yiyin turned her head and cast a helpless look at her man. Hua Chenhuan sighed and said truthfully, "This woman came back a year ago. When Yin Yin was pregnant, she posted some specious things to sow discord between us." As soon as Hua Chenhuan said this, everyone's expression changed again. It hadn't been long since Hua Chenhuan's legs had recovered, but this Miss Song had run away faster than a rabbit when he was in trouble. She had even moved her whole family overseas. It was obvious that she didn't plan to come back unless it was necessary. However, the truth was that she had come back a year ago after Hua Chenhuan's legs had recovered. She had even secretly schemed against the pregnant woman and stirred up trouble when she was emotionally unstable to sow discord between them. It could be said that Miss Song's intentions were clear to everyone. "Why haven't I heard you mention this before?" Su Yiyin touched her nose guiltily. "It's not a big deal. I didn't take it to heart at that time. After Chenhuan found out, he immediately dealt with her, so I didn't mention it." "Dealt with her? How did you deal with her?" "I asked someone to find out where she lived. I directly had someone tie her up, put her on a plane, and send her abroad." As soon as Hua Chenhuan said this, the way they looked at him changed again. They were no longer as cold as before. Instead, there was a hint of complexity in their eyes. It seemed that they didn't expect Hua Chenhuan to do this. Tying her up on a plane and sending her back was simply too violent. However, when they thought about how this person had tried to destroy Su Yiyin's family, they couldn't help but say, "Well done." Chapter 10:29. When Hua Chenhuan saw that their expressions had calmed down a little, she knew that she had escaped a disaster. She breathed a sigh of relief without a trace. When she turned her head, she met Su Yiyin's half-smiling eyes. She felt helpless and amused at the same time. "When I sent her abroad, I asked someone to pass her a message. She didn't remember it at all and still dared to come back." When Su Yuxuan heard Hua Chenhuan's words, she snorted coldly. She's shameless enough to come back and beg for forgiveness. What else is there that she doesn't dare to do? However, there's something that I need to tell you guys so that you can be mentally prepared. Su Yiyin and Hua Chenhuan looked at each other and asked in confusion, "What is it?" According to our investigation, the reason why Miss Song was able to return to the country and get involved in this matter was because she borrowed the connections of one of her relatives. Relative? Hua Chenhuan's expression changed slightly. Could it be? When Su Yiyin heard this, she knew that he must know something. She looked at him questioningly. Hua Chenhuan didn't hide it. "It should be Aunt Song." "Aunt Song?" Su Yiyin was shocked. Although Aunt Song's surname was also Song, she had never thought that she would have any relationship with Miss Song. "She's a relative of Miss Song?" "Yes, but they are not related by blood." Hua Chenhuan paused and said thoughtfully, "The Song family has always been powerful. Just like the reason why Song Yinyuan had taken a fancy to Hua Chenhuan, other than his looks, was mainly because he was the young master of the family Hua and the future heir. She wanted to use the marriage with the family Hua to soar into the sky." Aunt Song's father insisted on marrying an ordinary girl, so he broke off contact with the Song family. When Song Yinyuan pestered me, my parents and Aunt Song had not contacted each other for a long time. But I don't know where they found out that Annie Song knew my parents, so they went to Annie Song's house to harass her. They asked her to contact my mother and put in a good word for Song Yinyuan so that she could marry me. Su Yiyin was shocked. She didn't expect there to be such a story behind it. Then Aunt Song, how could Aunt Song not know what kind of people in the Song family? Not only she didn't say anything good about Song Yinyuan to my mother, but she also told my mother everything about her relationship with the Song family. Then, she moved out with Uncle Luo. Su Yiyin could not help but laugh out loud when she heard that. Is the Song family a scourge? They actually forced Annie Song to move. When Hu Chenhuan saw her smile, he could not help but smile a little more. Isn't he a scourge? When she doesn't need you, she doesn't even look at you. But when she needs you, she immediately pesters you. She's scarier than a vampire. Aunt Song can't be provoked, but can't she avoid her? What happened after that? What else can happen after that? My parents originally had a good impression of Song Yinyuan. They didn't like her that much. They just felt that it was strange for a girl to take the initiative to pursue me. At that time, I'd already told my parents that I didn't like her. Their family made such a scene, so my parents gave up on any thoughts they had. Su Yiyin and the others sighed when they heard this. This was considered a double loss, right? Chapter 10:30. Then how could she use Annie Song's connections to do these things? Hua Chenhuan narrowed her eyes and sneered. I think it's possible that she's behind Annie Song's back. Annie Song might not know, but whether she knows or not, we still have to inform her about this. Su Yiyin didn't have any objections to this. She had a good impression of Luo Baogang and his wife, and knew that their family didn't have a good relationship with Song Yinyuan's family. She also felt that it was more likely that they didn't know about this. Su Yuxuan heard the gist of it from aside, and said with anger and amusement, after all this time, these two people behind the scenes, one is your rotten peach blossom, and the other is your husband's rotten peach blossom. These two rotten peach blossoms are still together? Are they trying to break you up and then divide the spoils? Hua Chenhuan and Su Yiyin. What do you mean by dividing the spoils? Not only the two parties involved, but everyone else was also shocked by his words. The room suddenly became quiet, and then someone couldn't help but laugh. The others finally reacted and laughed one by one. Su Yiyin and Su Yiyin looked at each other helplessly, but they couldn't refute. That night, Hua Chenhuan took the initiative to call Luo Baogang and his wife and told them about this matter. After hearing the whole story, the two were really surprised, especially Song Linghua, who was really angry. I knew that she wouldn't come back for anything good this time. Song Yinyuan's return to the country had been on her side. Although Song Linghua didn't like this family, she was still an elder. If she was too calculative with the younger generation, people would think that she was petty. Therefore, she didn't care too much about Song Yinyuan's return. As long as she didn't cause any trouble for her, she would turn a blind eye and pretend that she didn't have this strange relative. Who would have thought that even though she wanted to ignore this junior actually did all he could to harm her family behind her back. He even almost caused her and her husband to lose their chastity in their later years. Huan, little Su, this is indeed our negligence. I didn't expect. Su Yiyin could hear the guilt in Song Linghua's words. I know you and Director Luo's character. Otherwise, I wouldn't have called you as soon as I found out about this. I just wanted to let you know the whole story and avoid any unnecessary misunderstandings in the future. That's true. Song Linghua couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. A few days ago, he had just put down his pride and asked Su Yiyin to treat the Li family's granddaughter. How long had it been since then? His own relative had backstabbed Su Yiyin's mother's family. When Song Linghua and his wife thought of this, they felt ashamed. They said apologetically, although I didn't know about this, she did it under our name. We have let you and your grandfather's family down. Auntie Song, please don't say that. That's one thing. Since this matter has nothing to do with you, every injustice has its perpetrator and every debt has its debtor. How can I let you take the blame for others? I'm calling you today mainly because I want to understand the specific situation. Everyone knows what's going on. Secondly, I also wanted to ask why she did such a thing. You and Director Luo. Chapter 1031. When Song Linghua said this, it could be considered as a clear statement of her position. Su Yin let out a long sigh and smiled faintly. Since Annie Song has said so, I'm relieved. She simply expressed her position on this matter. Song Linghua hesitated for a moment, but she couldn't help but ask. Now that this matter has become like this, Su Yin knew what she wanted to ask, so she didn't hide it. This matter isn't a big deal, but it's not a small one either. Maliciously forging evidence to slander my uncle's company for tax evasion is not a big deal. Bribing dangerous people who stole confidential information to slander the elders is not a small crime. To put it bluntly, someone had to investigate this matter. If they didn't investigate, it would be a case of false report. However, if they really investigated, there would be evidence. In serious terms, they could even treat Song Yinyuan and Song Linghua as spies who deliberately came back from abroad to cause social unrest. Su Yin had specially called to inform her in advance. Naturally, she couldn't just let the matter rest. Even if Song Yinyuan could survive, she probably wouldn't be able to leave that cage for the rest of her life. Song Linghua was silent for a long time before she exhaled faintly. Forget it. People have to pay the price for their greed. Since I've made my choice, it has nothing to do with others. The corners of Su Yin's lips curled up slightly, and she kindly reminded Song Linghua, Auntie Song is very righteous, but some people might not be. Song Yinyuan is in trouble in China. Her family. I'm afraid they will find trouble with you. You and Director Luo have to be mentally prepared. Some people are shameless and don't care whether you're relatives or not. They are even fiercer than enemies. When Song Linghua heard Su Yin's words, her face sank. She probably remembered this family's strange actions back then. So be it. Do you think I'm afraid of them? It just so happens that I still have some debts to settle with them. I'll take this opportunity to settle them properly. Otherwise, when they all die abroad in the future, these things will become a mess and have to be settled underground. It's good that you know what to do. Cheng Juanhao and the others acted quickly. Song Yinyuan and Cheng Fenglang were quickly subdued. When the two of them were arrested, they were still in a hotel, secretly plotting how to convict the Cheng family so that Su Yin would have no one to rely on. When they rushed in, the smiles on their faces froze on their faces before they even had time to restrain themselves. Cheng Fenglong's parents had been busy living apart and getting a divorce. After learning that their son had been arrested because of the Cheng family's matter, they had come to his house a few times to make trouble. Fortunately, Cheng Juanhao was prepared for this. No matter how Cheng Fenglong's parents cried, made a fuss, and threatened to hang themselves, he did not allow them to enter the house and took them away. Not long after, he heard that Cheng Fenglong's talkative mother had suddenly been diagnosed with liver cancer. Cheng Fenglong's father couldn't afford to pay for her treatment. The two of them, who had already shed all pretense of cordiality, quarreled even more loudly every day. They could not even protect themselves, so they did not have the energy to care about their son who was destined to never come back. On the third day of Cheng Fenglong's arrest, the police suddenly sent news that Cheng Fenglang wanted to see Su Yin one last time. Coincidentally, at the same time, Song Yinyuan also sent a message saying that she wanted to see Hu Chenhuan one last time. When Su Yin heard about this, she immediately remembered what her elder brother had said that day. She chuckled and said, "Birds of a feather flock together. These two people's brain circuits are the same. No wonder they can be together." Chapter 1032. Hu Chenhuan's face sank. Do you want to go? If you don't want to, we won't go. It was just a last-ditch struggle. It didn't matter whether they met or not. No, I want to go. Su Yin turned her head and looked at her man's disapproving expression. She smiled and said, "Let's go and listen to what these two weirdos have to say. At the same time, we can make these two jealous people angry." Humph. Hua Chenhuan immediately guessed Su Yin's plan. A trace of helplessness and indulgence flashed through her eyes. Okay. The meeting time was arranged in the afternoon, considering that these two people might be locked up in the same place in the future. In order to let them get used to it as soon as possible and to save time, Hua Chenhuan simply asked the people over there to arrange for the two people to meet in 2 rooms next to each other. Song Yinyuan and Chung Fenglang looked at each other across the prison cell. Their faces were a little dark, but they also knew that they had no way out now. If they really made a scene here, they might not even be able to see the person they wanted to see for the last time. When Su Yiyin and Chung Fenglang came in, Song Yinyuan and Chung Fenglang were arguing with each other. When they heard the sound, the room suddenly became quiet. Song Yinyuan was the first to react. She stood up and rushed to the front. She held the pillar on the side of the cell tightly. Through the gap, she stared at Hua Chenhuan with blazing eyes. "You're here." Hua Chenhuan frowned slightly. Disgust flashed through her eyes. Then she quickly withdrew her gaze and focused on Su Yiyin. The impatience and coldness between her eyebrows melted in an instant, leaving only a strong warmth and love. This obvious contrast in Song Yinyuan's eyes was tantamount to a sharp knife that ruthlessly pierced her heart. It pierced her self-righteousness and self-confidence. "You shameless bitch, thief." Song Yinyuan's face became ferocious and distorted. His eyes were bloodshot, as if he wanted to swallow Su Yiyin alive and tear him into pieces. "Thief!" Su Yiyin raised her eyebrows and found it funny. "What makes you think I'm a thief? What did I steal? Am I a man's heart?" Su Yiyin said as she touched her man's chest like a rogue. "Then I'm really sorry. My man's heart is in my hands from the beginning to the end. It only belongs to me. There's no need to waste any effort to steal it. Only those pitiful creatures who wanted something but couldn't get it would think about other people's things every day and end up with nothing. Serves him right. You. Nonsense." Song Yinyuan was already irritated by the intimacy between the two. Now that she heard Su Yiyin's words, she was even more furious. "He likes me, he likes me." Su Yiyin chuckled, her eyes full of mockery. "Are you a roundworm in his stomach? Whether he likes you or not, how would you know? Or did he do something to make you misunderstand that he likes you?" If that's really the case, now that we're here, I don't mind you bringing up some old and rotten accounts. Tell me, why does he like you? Song Yinyuan's affectionate expression suddenly froze. Although she made a solemn vow, she really couldn't say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After all, whether it was in the past or now, Hua Chenhuan seemed to be avoiding her like the plague, not to mention treating her well. She thought about the last time she returned to the country happily and finally found an opportunity to secretly sow discord between Su Yiyin and his wife. Chapter 1033. However, as soon as it started, Hua Chenhuan sent someone to pack them up and send them on the plane. Song Yinyuan was full of confidence when she came back, but she was humiliated when she was sent back. She didn't believe that Hua Chenhuan would treat her like this. It must be that this woman knew the truth and secretly drove her away behind his back. Yes, it must be like this. Song Yinyuan looked at Su Yiyin with increasingly cold and resentful eyes. "Chenhuan, don't be fooled by this woman. She's a shameless **TCH. Do you know that she sent people to catch me behind your back and force me to leave? She even threatened me that if I dared to come back to you, she would kill me and my family. Don't be fooled by how gentle and considerate she pretends to be in front of you. In fact, she is a vicious **TCH. Are you done scolding?" "What?" Song Yinyuan looked at Hua Chenhuan, whose face was covered with frost and whose eyes were so cold that it seemed to pierce through her. She couldn't help but shiver and suddenly had an ominous premonition. "It seems that you haven't learned your lesson from what happened before. You didn't take the warning I asked Xian to give you to heart at all. You..." Hua Chenhuan's words were tantamount to admitting that everything that happened before was his doing. Taking a step back, even if it wasn't an order from his mouth, it must have been approved by him. Song Yinyuan's eyes narrowed. She was hit hard. She couldn't accept that Hua Chenhuan really didn't have any feelings for her. Just like how Hua Chenhuan had rejected her countless times in the past, she was the one who pestered him and refused to let go. In the end, when Hua Chenhuan was in trouble, she ran away faster than anyone else. After knowing that his legs had recovered, Song Yinyuan spontaneously beautified everything that had happened in the past. Hua Chenhuan also had feelings for her. It was only because she had left and hurt his heart that he retreated and settled for the next best thing, which allowed another woman to take advantage of him. As long as she appeared again and awakened Hua Chenhuan's former love for her, the inferior substitute would be rejected by him sooner or later. At that time, Hua Chenhuan would definitely divorce and marry her. She would still be the legitimate Mrs. Hua. It's you, isn't it? It's you who deliberately spoke ill of me in front of Chenhuan and ruined his impression of me. You shameless B*TCH. You won't shed tears until you see the coffin. Su Yiyin really thought that this woman was sick in the head. You're a dog-skin plaster who worships the powerful and tramples on the weak. You run away when you encounter trouble, and once you find out that there's something to gain, you try every means to stick to me. What gave you the confidence to make you think that your image in Chenhuan's eyes is so pure and unattainable? Song Yinyuan's face was livid. She opened her mouth and wanted to refute. Su Yiyin didn't intend to give her a chance at all. The person in question is right here. Do you want to ask him if he ever had any feelings for you? No. As soon as Su Yiyin's voice fell, the person in question denied it without thinking. I only loved you in the past, now, and in the future. I don't like anyone else except you. Hua Chenhuan's ruthless words suddenly made the not harmonious atmosphere suffocate. Su Yiyin was the first to react. Looking at Song Yinyuan's pale face, she felt an indescribable relief. Do you understand? Song Yinyuan was like a sick cat whose tail had been stepped on. She opened her mouth with a ferocious expression and was about to curse, but was interrupted by Hua Chenhuan. Chapter 10:34. Keep scolding. If you scold my wife, I'll send one of your relatives to accompany you. You just scolded me 4 times. Within a month, I'll send 4 of your relatives to reunite with you. Don't worry, I won't let you wait long. Hua Chenhuan's words were light, as if they were just a joke. But as long as one looked at his expression and the way he stared at Song Yinyuan at the moment, no one would think that he was joking. Song Yinyuan met his gaze and felt a chill run down her spine. It made her limbs cold, and she couldn't help but want to shiver. No, you can't. Hua Chenhuan glanced at her as if he was looking at an insignificant ant. No, I can't. Song Yinyuan's body trembled. At this moment, she realized that maybe she shouldn't have come back in the first place. She shouldn't have thought that this man would be soft-hearted and change for her. She thought too highly of herself. Su Yiyin saw the change in Song Yinyuan's expression and didn't have any sympathy in her heart. She dared to seduce her husband so blatantly in front of her. Who knew what she was thinking about her husband behind his back? Thinking of this, Su Yiyin couldn't help but feel disgusted. Sometimes, it wasn't a good thing to have many suitors, especially suitors like this who were self-righteous and regarded the person they liked as their possession without the slightest respect. It was a big trouble that couldn't be gotten rid of. In this regard, Cheng Fengling was quite similar to her. Just as she was thinking about this, Cheng Fengling, who had been watching this farce coldly from the side, finally couldn't hold back and shouted with a sad expression, Mr. Cheng, we don't know each other well. The expression on Cheng Fenglong's face suddenly froze. Song Yinyuan next door sneered, as if she was mocking Cheng Fengling for thinking too much. She was having a hard time, and so was Cheng Fengling. They were all in the same boat, and no one needed to discuss the other. Cheng Fenglong's IQ was still a little higher than Song Yinyuan's. The expression on his face only stiffened for a moment before he quickly adjusted. He frowned and said, Is there any misunderstanding between us? Uncle, weren't you the one who reported the company? How could I? Su Yiyin interrupted his explanation. Grandpa has been slandered for taking kickbacks and stealing the research results of his staff. Do you dare to say that you have nothing to do with it? Chung Juanhao looked into Su Yin's eyes. His heart trembled slightly, and a trace of guilt flashed across his eyes. However, he understood that he couldn't admit to this because once he did, he would be doomed eternally. I don't understand what you're talking about. I've heard about what happened between my uncle and the old man. In my heart, I also hope that these things aren't true. It's just that my parents have been in a lot of trouble recently, and I can't take care of myself. That's why I haven't taken the time to care about my uncle and the old man. You can't think that this matter has something to do with me just because of this, or even that I'm behind it. What good can I do if something happens to the old man and uncle? It's true that there's nothing good for you if something happens to your grandfather and uncle. However, there's a kind of person in this world who, even if it's not beneficial to himself, still likes to harm others. It's just for his vanity that has nowhere to go. Yin, Chung Fenglang frowned and wanted to explain, but he was interrupted by Su Yiyin again. Why do you think you're here? Do you think I'll tell you this without definite evidence? Do you think the police will arrest people without definite evidence? Chapter 1035. Chung Fenglong's face turned from green to white, from white to green, changing unpredictably. Su Yiyin was too lazy to continue talking to him. If Chung Fenglang was like Song Yin Yuan, crying and making a fuss, she would be in the mood to play with him. But now, he knew that the things he had done had been exposed, but he was still stubborn and trying to get himself out of this matter. He really thought they were fools. If you tried so hard to see me just to say these words, then you're done. Now that you've said it, I'm too lazy to listen to the rest. That's it, let's go. As Su Yiyin spoke, she pulled Hua Chenwan and was about to walk out. Seeing this, Chung Fenglang could no longer care about anything else. Wait, is there anything else? Chung Fenglang looked at Su Yiyin's slightly mocking eyes, gritted his teeth, and asked tentatively, You know all about it? Know what? Su Yiyin turned around and looked directly into his eyes. She said with a faint smile, I know that you're the one behind the scenes. You bribed the employees of my uncle's company and maliciously reported my uncle's company and my grandfather in order to destroy them and get to the top. Or do you know that more than 90% of the reason you did all this is because you like me and you want to take revenge on my uncle and my grandfather so that I have no one to rely on and can only rely on you? You already know. Chung Fenglang looked at Su Yiyin with a burning gaze that had never been seen before. It was as if she had opened the window paper and destroyed some kind of imprisonment that had originally restrained him. Yin, I like you. I've liked you for a long time. You don't know how much I like you and how long I've liked you. We're not related by blood at all, so why did they have to stop me? They even refused to let me see you a few more times. As soon as they knew my feelings for you, they sent me abroad regardless of anything, so that I could never see you again. They deserve to die. Anyone who stops me from being with you deserves to die. As long as they are dead, no one will be able to stop us. As long as they are dead, you can be with me. You will belong to me alone. At this moment, Chung Fenglang finally revealed his crazy side. He knew very well that once his deeds were exposed, Su Yiyin would not let him go. The Chung family would not let him go either. Since that was the case, there was no need for him to hide the shameful thoughts that he had been hiding all these years. Hua Chenwan's face was as black as the bottom of a pot when he heard this man's naked confession and his almost crazy desire to monopolize his wife. Just as he was about to make a move, he was stopped by Su Yiyin. So what? What? So what if they stop you? Su Yiyin looked up at Chung Fenglang and said in an unprecedentedly cold tone, You were wrong from the beginning. You like me, but I don't like you. It has nothing to do with whether we are related by blood or not. Even if they don't send you abroad, I can't be with you. Chung Fenglang was shocked, and his always gentle and calm face became distorted and ferocious. Then who do you like? Him? Chung Fenglang pointed at Hua Chenwan, gnashed his teeth and growled. How can I not compare with him? I can give you whatever he can give you. As long as you are willing, I don't mind that you married him and had a child with him. As long as you are willing, I'm willing to give you anything. Chapter 1036. Chung Fenglang said, and even stretched his hand out of the fence, as if he wanted to pull Su Yi in. What do you love about him? Money? Don't tell me you like him. When you married him, he was just a cripple that no one wanted. Su Yiyin hated it the most when people talked about Hui Chenhuan's crippled legs. Chung Fenglong's words could be said to have accurately poked her Achilles heel. With a bang, all the fire in her stomach was ignited. You really don't believe me. I just like him. Whether he is well or crippled, I like him. The fact is, in my heart, you're not even comparable to a cripple. No, in my heart, you can't even compare to a single hair of his. You don't deserve to be compared to him. Money? Do you think I care about your stinky money? Let me tell you, when I got married, the dowry my parents gave me and the betrothal gift my husband gave me can make you struggle less for hundreds of years. You can't compare to him. Your ability is not good, and you don't earn as much money as others. Who gave you the courage to vow that you can compare to him? Is it this cellmate next to you? With just a few words, Su Yiyin had managed to diss both of them at the same time. Hua Chenhuan couldn't help but laugh on the spot. The depression in his heart disappeared without a trace. Although he regretted that he couldn't show his masculinity in front of his wife's protective appearance really made him love her to the bone. Chung Fenglang was directly refuted by her words. After a while, he reacted. His lips trembled slightly, and he said, "This is the real reason why you married him? I was wrong about you. My mother was right. You are the same as those vain women." Su Yiyin narrowed her eyes. She intuitively felt that she couldn't understand these brain-dead people whose brain circuits were in a dead knot. Hua Chenhuan didn't want to hear anything bad about Su Yiyin from other people's mouths. She sneered. "Yes, I spent all my savings to beg Yin to be with me and marry me." "You!" Chung Fenglong's expression changed slightly. Song Yunyuan subconsciously tightened her grip on the pillar. Her eyes were filled with jealousy and hatred. "She is worth it. I was willing to. I got what I loved all my life. I got what I wanted the most. If you can't get it, it only means that you're incompetent and unworthy. From the moment you laid your hands on Yin's family and tried to hurt them, you had already lost the right to like her." Hua Chenhuan looked at Chung Fenglang with a cold gaze, as if he was looking at a dead man. "You even said that you didn't mind that she had been married to me and had given birth to my child. From your words, I can tell that you despise her. You just treat Yin as an object, a possession that you like and think is infallible. You don't know how to respect her at all. The so-called love that you can give her is just the material that you can give her." With such little ability, what right do you have to say that Yin is vain? Let's go. Don't talk to them. Su Yiyin glanced at the two unconvinced people. She only felt that it was a mistake to come today. What a waste of time. I already regret coming. Su Yiyin said that she wanted to leave. Hua Chenhuan naturally had no reason to refuse. She immediately took Su Yiyin's hand and led her out, leaving the two losers staring at each other and mocking each other. "This is your so-called white moonlight. Look at her. Does she care about you? You're asking for humiliation." Chapter 1037. Chung Fenglong's face darkened, and he sneered back. "Is this your so-called childhood sweetheart? You're young and affectionate. I'm afraid she doesn't even remember your name, right? I feel ashamed for you." You. The two losers couldn't get any benefits from Su Yiyin and Chung Fenglang, so they had to turn to attack their allies around them. In the rest of their short and long lives, they had to fight with each other. Su Yiyin came out with Hua Chenhuan. She was still angry and looked like she wanted to hit someone. Hua Chenhuan was a little angry, but he calmed down when he saw her like this. He bent his lips and said with a faint smile, "Didn't you say you wanted to come? Why are you being so awkward now?" "I regret it." Su Yiyin snorted and said unhappily, "I wanted to come here and make these people angry. Who would have thought that they were so weird? They made themselves angry first." Hua Chenhuan knew what she was angry about. He comforted her softly. "It's okay. Anyway, we won't see them again." Su Yiyin was silent for a moment and asked tentatively, "How long will they be locked up like this?" Hua Chenhuan didn't answer her immediately. Instead, he asked, "How long do you want them to be locked up?" "Of course, I want them to be locked up as long as they can. Don't let them out to harm people again." "As you wish." Su Yin looked up at him in confusion, but she didn't ask more. Chung Fenglong's matter was quite big. The Chung family couldn't hide it, and they didn't want to help their family hide it. Although Chung Juanhao's company was founded by himself, he was helped by some relatives and friends who had a good relationship with him. Chung Juanhao was not a person who would kill a donkey after it had outlived its usefulness. After the company grew stronger, he paid back most of the people who had helped him. Those who had a certain ability worked in the company. Those who had limited talent in this area could not take on heavy responsibilities. According to the original investment, they could get dividends every year. Chung Fenglong's original intention was to destroy Chung Juanhao's company and the Chung family. But strictly speaking, didn't he also touch the cake of many relatives and friends? The people who originally had a good relationship with their family quickly turned against them after learning about this matter. They sharpened their knives to teach them a lesson, but found that Chung Fenglang had already been captured. Chung Fenglong's mother had liver cancer and had a falling out with Chung Fenglong's father. She had no money for treatment and was struggling to survive in the hospital. Of course, Chung Fenglong's father was not much better. Perhaps because of the chaos in his family, he was also in a bad mood. He went out to get drunk alone, and in the end, he went crazy outside and bumped into or almost molested a pregnant woman. She was so scared that she almost had a miscarriage. When the pregnant woman's husband found out, he naturally couldn't take it lying down. He directly beat Chung Fenglong's father and sent him to the hospital. The worst thing was that the man had been too heavy-handed. He had kicked Chung Fenglong's father's body so hard that he was basically crippled. When Chung Fenglong's father woke up and learned of this bad news, he almost couldn't catch his breath and went to see his old father who had passed away. His eldest son was crippled. Not to mention that there was an 80% to 90% chance that he would not be able to get out of prison in the future. Even if he did, there was basically no hope. His wife had become like this. He originally wanted to divorce her or simply kill her, marry another one, and try to have another child. Now, there was no hope at all. Chapter 1038. After Chung Fenglong's father woke up again, he stared blankly at the snow-white ceiling in the ward for a long time. He thought of the time when Chung Juanhao and his wife had no children. Every time his wife encountered something unpleasant, she would drag them out to vent her anger. She would sarcastically mock their family for doing too many bad things and that they deserved to die without descendants. Although he didn't agree, he was secretly happy. He felt that even if he couldn't compare with her, at least he had a son. But now, other people's lives were getting better and better, and he was the one who died without descendants. Perhaps this was retribution. The Chung family's company and old Master Cheng's affairs were dealt with quickly. Because of Song Yinyuan and Chung Fenglong's arrangement, a large number of media outlets initially came to stir up trouble, causing old Master Chung and Chung Juanhao's company to be attacked by some poor people who hated the rich for a few days. Later, when the Chung family presented evidence, many people who had been particularly aggressive before chose to shut down their microphones. A small number of people chose to apologize, and an even smaller number of people were unwilling to admit that they had done anything wrong. They were paranoid and believed that this was a conspiracy. However, because the hammer was too hard, this small number of people didn't make any waves. Su Yiyin and Hua Chenhuan stayed at the Chung family's house until everything was settled. As soon as they got home, they found that Ling Xiaoqi was already waiting for them at home. "Are you okay? Is everything okay at home? I only found out about your grandfather's family a few days ago. I don't know how you guys are doing, so I can only worry." "It's okay. It's all settled." Ling Xiaoqi breathed a sigh of relief and whispered, "That's good." Su Yiyin saw that she looked a little haggard. Since she already knew about her family situation a few days ago, there was no reason for her not to contact her, unless, did something happen to you these past few days? Did you encounter any difficulties? Ling Xiaoqi froze for a moment, and her eyes began to wander. "No, nothing." Su Yin saw her guilty look and became more and more sure of her guess. She frowned and said, "If it's nothing, why don't you dare to look at me? Raise your head and look into my eyes. Tell me, did anything happen to you these past few days?" Ling Xiaoqi's expression stiffened. She knew that she couldn't hide it from Su Yin, so she had to tell the truth. "I did run into some trouble, but it's over now." "What trouble?" Su Yin's mind flashed. "Is it related to that man?" Ling Xiaoqi's expression changed slightly, and Su Yin knew that he had guessed correctly. A cold light flashed in his eyes, and there was a hint of murderous intent. From the looks of it, she had been too gentle in dealing with him previously. This family actually dared to make trouble for Ling Xiaoqi. They really had evil intentions. "He came to find you again?" Ling Xiaoqi shook her head. "It's not him. It's another man." "Another man? Who is it?" "Yin Yin, do you still remember that I told you before that I found a job at Qiyin Group? You also said that the general manager of that company, his style wasn't good, and told me not to go." Su Yin was startled. After realizing the meaning of Ling Xiaoqi's words, his face turned completely black. "You mean the general manager of Qiyin Group came to find you? What did he want from you? Did he do anything bad to you?" Ling Xiaoqi recalled what had happened these past few days, and her expression became a little angry. She said angrily, "He wanted to, but unfortunately, he didn't have the chance." Chapter 1039. It turned out that since half a month ago, Ling Xiaoqi had been bumping into a strange man at various times and places. At first, Ling Xiaoqi did not pay much attention to him. After all, he was just a stranger whom she did not have much interaction with. It was normal for her to have no impression of him. However, after that, the frequent coincidental encounters at various times and places made Ling Xiaoqi feel that something was wrong. Not to mention that a few days ago, the man was no longer satisfied with the coincidental encounters and could not help but take the initiative to strike up a conversation with her. Although Ling Xiaoqi was a little slow at the beginning, she was not stupid. How could she not tell that this man was up to no good after such incidents happened a few times? As a single person who had a boyfriend, Ling Xiaoqi immediately told Ning Siyuan about it when she felt that something was wrong. Ning Siyuan took it seriously the moment he heard it. Not to mention whether or not this man really liked Ling Xiaoqi and wanted to steal her away and make her his cuckold. A man who was always in front of a girl and even took the initiative to strike up a conversation with her must have an ulterior motive. Whether it was for money, sex, or anything else, Ling Xiaoqi would definitely not have an easy time with such a man. If something were to happen to her, who would compensate him with such a grown-up wife? Ning Siyuan made a prompt decision and assigned a few bodyguards to protect Ling Xiaoqi 24/7 so that she would not have any chance of being left alone. Apart from that, he also specially got someone to investigate who this bastard who dared to mess with the Almighty was. He didn't expect that he would find something that was intriguing. "He came to me because of that man," Su Yin frowned. "What do you mean?" "Their company's chairman and that man are friends. He happened to overhear the conversation between their chairman and that man and knew that I was that man." Ling Xiaoqi paused when she said this. Obviously, she was very reluctant to admit this. "He knew that I was that man's only bloodline in this world and heard that he was going to pass the company to me. So he had some ulterior motives. I want to hurry before that man takes me back." Ling Xiaoqi didn't finish her words, but Su Yin immediately guessed the general manager's Hua plan. "He wants to seduce you before you are recognized, win your heart in advance, and marry into your family after you're recognized?" "Yeah." Su Yin was angry and disgusted. She sneered and said, "This man's appetite is really not small." Ling Xiaoqi also felt disgusted, but she was more disgusted and confused. "What do you think he thinks? You should at least have some professional integrity before trying to seduce someone. You should do your homework first. I already have a boyfriend, yet you're still trying to get close to me. Are you trying to be a third party? You're underestimating some people's moral integrity. So what if he's a third party? As long as he can get inexhaustible wealth and become the best of the best, Even if he is asked to kill and set fire, he will do it. Being a third party is not even an appetizer for them. Believe it or not, if you really inherit that man's family property, as long as you wave your hand, many people will be willing to be your third, fourth, or fifth party. Ling Xiaoqi was disgusted by Su Yiyin's assumption. She shook her head quickly and said, I don't want any third party, fourth party, or fifth party. One boyfriend is enough. I can't handle more than one, and I don't want that man's stinky money. I'm disgusted with his things. You think so, but others don't think so. Chapter 1040. The man who hit on you has been married for a long time. His wife is the daughter of a director of Qian Group. Ling Xiaoqi was a little surprised. Ning Xiyuan didn't tell her about this. Then why is he still? I guess he's not a particularly well-behaved person. He's bent on climbing up and unwilling to be under others. However, his father-in-law is just a small director of Qian Group. He's not even the chairman. And the chairman of their company is friends with that man. They're of the same generation. It can be seen that the man's status is higher than his father-in-law's. People want to climb up. He wants to climb up. The fastest shortcut is to hook up with a woman who is better than his current wife and can bring him a bright future. That person is you. Ling Xiaoqi's face darkened. Obviously, she was very disgusted and dissatisfied that she had inexplicably become a tool for others to climb up. Have you ever heard of this saying? When a person acts like himself, he or she will assume that others are the same as him or her, and will naturally project his or her thoughts onto others. In his opinion, you're a poor girl with no money, power, and no one to rely on. You must want to get the warmth of a family. You must love money as much as he does. You want to soar into the sky and become a rich second generation that everyone envies. You have no reason to refuse such a good thing. Ling Xiaoqi curled her lips. But I really will refuse, so he's destined to be disappointed. Su Yiyin glanced at her and deliberately teased her. Even if you don't refuse, you can't fall in love with someone else. You can't leave eldest young Master Ning, who has such potential, and blindly fall in love with such a thing? Ling Xiaoqi was stunned. After realizing that Su Yiyin deliberately teased her, she glared at her angrily. Then she seemed to think of something and asked tentatively, Yin Yin, did you already know that Qian Group has something to do with that man? In fact, when Ning Xiyuan investigated the man's background and told her the ins and outs of the matter, Ling Xiaoqi already had a trace of suspicion in her heart. When she had just returned from abroad, she had interviewed for several companies before deciding to go to Qian Group, which had better conditions in all aspects. But in the end, before she could apply for a job, she was forced into Dongsheng by Su Yiyin. At that time, she didn't think much about it. She only thought that Su Yiyin was worried that she would be bullied in other companies and wanted her to enter her company. Now that she thought about it, she felt that Su Yiyin, when she heard that she was going to Qian Group, it was as if she already knew that she would be at a disadvantage. At that time, she only thought that Su Yiyin was worried that she would be harassed by that man and suffer from the unspoken rules of the business world. Now, she felt that Su Yiyin might have already known that she would be involved with that man when she joined that company. When the time comes, she would inevitably be at a disadvantage because of the contract. Su Yiyin saw that she had found out and did not continue to hide it. She sighed and asked carefully, Are you angry? I'm not angry. I just hope that you can tell me the next time something like this happens. After all, I'm the person involved. I know you're doing it for my own good, but it's a little uncomfortable to be kept in the dark about such things. Also, I'm an adult. Don't treat me like a child and a fragile thing. Although I hate that man, he's really not that important to my heart. Chapter 1041. While Ling Xiaoqi was talking, Su Yiyin had been carefully observing her expression. When he was sure that she didn't force herself to talk about that man, he heaved a sigh of relief. He knew that she had finally let it go. Yes. You've grown up. You're no longer a child. How can a child fall in love with someone? I was thinking too much. I didn't tell you before because I was worried that you'd do something stupid on impulse. You're just a girl after all. Those people have money and power, and they'll do anything to achieve their goals. Who knows what kind of despicable things they'll do. It's different now. Someone has someone to protect her. She's confident and doesn't need me to worry about her. That's good. Ling Xiaoqi was stunned for a long time before she realized that Su Yiyin was making fun of her. Her face flushed red, but she didn't refute him. Ning Xiyuan had indeed helped her a lot this time. Su Yiyin was laughing, but he was still thinking about business. Since you already know the twists and turns of this, what are you going to do? The key to this matter wasn't the man who had tried to seduce her, but Ling Xiaoqi's cheap father, who still wanted to bring her back to acknowledge her ancestors and become a puppet. This person had appeared before, but Su Yiyin had used some tricks to chase him back to his original position. He couldn't even take care of himself, and wouldn't have the chance to find trouble with Ling Xiaoqi. However, this wasn't a long-term plan. If he wanted to solve this once and for all, he had to think of another way. Actually, Xiyuan has discussed this with me. What did he say? He said that if I'm willing, he can help me destroy their family and take over their business under his name. Then what? Ling Xiaoqi avoided Su Yiyin's gaze and said embarrassedly, "Then give it to me as a betrothal gift." Betrothal gift? Su Yiyin felt that he had been shown off. He said with a subtle expression, "So, he's going to propose to you?" Ling Xiaoqi was stunned. For a moment, she didn't know how to answer. Su Yiyin didn't continue on the topic of the couple. He only asked tentatively, "What do you think?" Ling Xiaoqi pursed her lips. After a long silence, she said, "Actually, I don't really want it." "No, you have to. You have to." Yin Yin. Ling Xiaoqi looked at Su Yiyin in surprise and confusion. "That's his love for you, and it's what you deserve." Su Yiyin held Ling Xiaoqi's hand and said earnestly, "You have to understand that letting that man take you home, force you to be his daughter, and then force you to marry the son-in-law he likes and give birth to an heir with his blood to inherit his family property is completely different from your boyfriend buying his family property and giving it to you as a betrothal gift. The former means forcing, coercion, bullying, and oppression. The initiative is in the hands of others, and you are the one who is controlled. The latter means that the initiative is in your hands. As long as you're willing, no one can force you. As long as you want, you can even make those who you don't like and who have let you and Annie Ling down pay the price." Ling Xiaoqi narrowed her eyes. "You mean, why did that man let your mother down? Wasn't it because he thought he was extraordinary and couldn't bear to give up his wealth and status? He was a scum in human skin. Without these things, do you think he can still live a decent life?" Although it was still tightly covered, at least he was willing to reveal his skin except for his facial features. It was a big improvement. This time, besides Grandpa and Grandma Li Lianam's parents also came along with Lianam. Mother Li was a very elegant middle-aged woman. Perhaps because of her daughter's misfortune, she faintly exuded a melancholy aura. However, when she heard her daughter's words, the expression on her face suddenly became more lively. She smiled faintly and said, "Nan Nan is right. I heard from my family that Miss Su's scar removal ointment is very effective. Nan Nan previously..." Chapter 1043. When Motherly said this, she subconsciously glanced at her daughter. Her eyes were slightly red, but she quickly stabilized her emotions and revealed a hint of obvious joy in her eyes. She is now willing to communicate with us and cooperate with the treatment. This is something we didn't dare to imagine before. This is all thanks to Miss Su. You are our family's benefactor. I hope you can accept this small token of appreciation. In the future, please take care of Nan Nan." Frankly speaking, when the two elders wanted to bring Li and Nam over, the couple was opposed to it. In the past few years, they had sought out countless well-known doctors for Li and Nam. They didn't think that a young man in his early 20s could really help them solve their problem. Who knew if bringing a child over would cause harm to her again? But who would have thought that it was this young man, whom they didn't have any hope for at the beginning, who helped their disheartened daughter take that crucial step forward. You flatter me. I just did what I could. The focus is still on Miss Lee. If she is not willing, no one can force her. That was true. But if it wasn't for Su Yin's scar removal ointment that gave Li Nam hope of recovery, how could she walk out of this dead end and pull herself together again? Mother Li was very grateful to Su Yin, but she could tell that Su Yin didn't like to take on jobs, so she didn't continue to flatter her. She just hid this gratitude in her heart. Su Yin said a few words to Mother Li, then turned her attention to Song Linghua and her husband. Andy Song, you are again. Song Linghua and Luo Baoging looked at each other and said awkwardly, you must have suffered a lot this time. This is a little token of our appreciation to help you calm down. You are too polite. Su Yin's eyes flashed. She knew what the two were referring to, but she didn't expose them. She smiled faintly and asked, Andy Song, how have you been? Did you encounter any troubles? Of course, there were troubles. Just as Su Yin had predicted, Song Yunyuan was arrested. Her family would definitely seek help from Song Linghua, a relative in China. Song Linghua didn't know how these people had the audacity to order her around. Anyway, she didn't spoil them. He directly told them that he couldn't help, and neither could Luo Baoging. At the same time, he also provoked them and admitted that all of this was Song Yunyuan's own doing. He deserved to end up like this. If they were smart, they would treat it as if they didn't have this daughter in the future. They would live their lives honestly and not engage in those crooked practices. Perhaps they could still live the rest of their lives well. Otherwise, once these words were spoken, the consequences could be imagined. Song Yunyuan's parents cursed over the phone. Song Linghua couldn't be bothered to be long-winded with them. She simply hung up and blocked them, strangling all of their curses and curses in the cradle. However, to be able to raise a daughter like Song Yunyuan, her parents weren't easy to deal with. Even though Song Linghua blocked them, they still had ways to harass them. However, this situation didn't last long. Hua Chenwan kept her word. She said that she would send Song Yunyuan's relatives to accompany her, so she sent them in. The Song family had no power to fight back. After losing several talents, they finally understood that Song Linghua's warning was not groundless. They chose to admit defeat before all the members of the family fell, returning their family's peace. It's okay. It's all settled. Chapter 1044. Su Yin was just asking casually. She wasn't very interested in the Song family's affairs. She quickly turned her attention to the young man beside Li and Nam, who looked strangely familiar. Today, other than Li and Nam's grandfather and grandmother, who had been here once before, her parents were also here. Other than them, there was this young man who had a subtle expression and looked at her from time to time. This is when Su Yin took the initiative to ask. Mrs. Li and the others hurriedly introduced him. This is my nephew, my sister's child. He and his sister grew up together and have always been very close. Today, when he heard that we were coming, he insisted on coming to see us. Mrs. Li said as she waved at the young man. Jihong, say hello to Miss Su. Jihong. Su Yin was stunned. In Jihong? Wen Jingping's newly hooked up with a capable young actor? It can't be such a coincidence. In Jihong was a little surprised when he heard Su Yin call out his full name. He frowned slightly. You know me? Su Yin didn't expect that the person she helped treat for Song Linghua's sake would be In Jihong's cousin. Was this a coincidence? You're an actor, an insider. I have an entertainment company under my management. Isn't it normal to know you? Hearing this, the Li family also remembered Su Yin's identity. They knew that she wasn't only Hua Chenwan's wife, but also ran an entertainment company that was part of her dowry. She had many well-known male and female artists under her management. Song Linghua and Luo Baoging had worked with her in this area, so they reconnected with her and her family Hua. If Miss Su didn't mention it, I would have forgotten. Jihong, didn't you always praise that Red Dancer was especially good? That drama was invested in by Miss Su's company, and your grandpa Luo personally directed it. After Hai Yi's Empress failed both in terms of viewership ratings and reputation, Dongcheng's Hongling, could be said to be the complete opposite. Even in the later stages of the broadcast, the ratings still did not decrease. Instead, there was a trend of increasing. One had to know that many TV series nowadays had strong starts and weak ends. The first 10 or so episodes would attract the audience's attention first, but the last 10 or so episodes would start to crazily pour in. This made many viewers who only wanted to watch the characters ending feel as if a fishbone was stuck in their throats. It was tasteless to eat, but it was a pity to abandon it. He could only vent his dissatisfaction by getting low ratings. Naturally, the ratings of the series dropped. As for Red Brave, due to its high performance throughout the entire process, there was not a single drop in the plot, even in the middle and later stages of the production. It was deeply loved by the audience, and in just 1 or 2 months, it had already become the most popular drama series of the year. Unsurprisingly, Dongcheng Entertainment, the biggest investor, became the biggest winner of this explosive production. With this drama alone, they earned back more than half of their investment last year. It was a solid start for Su Yiyin's IP project. In Ji-hong had indeed praised the show before and even tried his best to recommend it to his relatives and friends. Not to mention other things, many people in the Leaf family had been led into the pit by him. However, in the past month after he joined the cast, his family had been watching the show happily. As the person who had first recommended the show to them, he had become less and less talkative about it. No one thought much about it. They just thought that In Ji-hong was busy with filming and had no time to watch the show. Naturally, he would not discuss the plot with them. However, it seemed that this was not the case. Chapter 1045. In Ji-hong's mind went blank for a moment when he heard his aunt mention dancing in red. Even his expression froze for a moment. Motherly did not think much of it when she saw him like this. She thought that he was surprised to find out that the show he liked was produced by someone he knew, so he could not react in time. On the other hand, Su Yiyin subconsciously paid more attention to him when she found out that the young man in front of her was In Ji-hong. Seeing him like this, for some reason, she suddenly remembered the words that Xia Junsheng had said to her before. He had said that In Ji-hong had a strict upbringing and that he was a lofty person who abhorred evil. Because of this, he had not been friendly with Wen Jingping at first. Later, when Wen Jingping and Ding Juexi's scandal was exposed, In Ji-hong, who should have been estranged from Wen Jingping, suddenly became very close to her. He had unknowingly protected Wen Jingping as if he had been possessed. Possessed? Su Yiyin's eyes turned cold. Ever since Ding Juexi's scandal was exposed, her Goldfinger progress had been stuck at 75 and had not moved at all. Was the last 25 on the person in front of her or on Do Tianyi? Countless thoughts flashed through Su Yiyin's mind, but she did not show it on her face. She smiled and said, "Mr. Een, you've watched Dancing in Red. I heard that there was some trouble in a show that Mr. Een has been filming recently. It's quite troublesome. Has it been resolved?" When everyone heard her words, their gazes all drifted towards In Ji-hong. "Ji-hong, something happened to your production team? Why didn't you mention it? Is it serious? Do you need help?" In Ji-hong's expression was subtle. He was silent for a while before he said, "It's nothing serious. It's been resolved." After he said that, he suddenly changed the topic and said, "Miss Su seems to be very interested in our production team." Su Yiyin could tell that he was testing her. She smiled and said, "That's not it. I'm a gossipy person and I like to watch the fun. Usually, when I have nothing to do, I like to eat melons and watch dramas online. This free drama is my favorite. How can I miss it?" In Ji-hong did not expect Su Yiyin to say that, and his body stiffened uncontrollably. The people present were all shrewd people. At this point, how could they not see the subtle atmosphere between the two? Mrs. Li and the others looked at each other. They didn't know if there was any contact or conflict between the two of them. Luo Baogeng and his wife were equally puzzled. However, they were industry insiders and knew a little more than the Li family. Recalling Su Yiyin's words, Luo Baogeng had a guess. Ji-hong has also been busy filming recently. Which production team did he join? Luo Baogeng was an elder and a senior in the circle. Naturally, Yin Jihong had to answer his question. He whispered the name of a drama. As soon as Luo Baoging heard the name, his eyebrows twitched. He knew that his guess was not far from the truth. So it's this drama. It did cause a lot of trouble some time ago. I didn't expect the male lead to be you. What a pity. Luo Baoging whispered in riddles. Not only did he not solve the Li family's confusion, but he also aroused their curiosity. What's wrong with this drama? Is there something wrong with the director? Or is there something wrong with the actors and the crew? As Mrs. Li spoke, she suddenly looked at Yin Jihong and asked, Jihong, are you hiding something from us? Chapter 1046. Yin Jihong's brows furrowed slightly. Under the probing gazes of his relatives, he didn't know what to say. Actually, it's nothing much. There's so many people in a drama, so there's bound to be a few weirdos. It's fine as long as it's settled. Luo Baoging knew the twists and turns in this matter. He also knew that it wasn't good to discuss this topic in front of the people involved, so he ended the topic and gave Grandpa Li a look. Grandpa Li instantly understood and pulled back his wife, who was about to continue asking. He smiled faintly and said, Old Luo is right. How can everything go smoothly at work? It's fine as long as it's settled. Today, we're here to thank Miss Su and confirm Nan Nan's treatment with Miss Su. Business is more important. Since Grandpa Li had said so, Grandma Li naturally couldn't say anything. When Yin Jihong heard Luo Baoging's vague, derogatory evaluation, he subconsciously wanted to refute Wen Jingping. However, when the words were about to come out his mouth, he unexpectedly met Su Yin's gaze. His mind went blank again. He didn't know why, but the words that were about to come out of his mouth couldn't come out. Su Yin saw Yin Jihong's conflicted and confused expression. She only felt that it was even more out of place. She looked at Yin Jihong with a more probing gaze. System, is there any way to investigate the reason why Yin Jihong's attitude towards Wen Jingping was different? Isn't Wen Jingping's female lead halo already very weak? How can it still make these people lose their intelligence? Is there something that you and I don't know about? Does the host suspect that Wen Jingping used some unspeakable methods on Yin Jihong? Su Yin was silent for a moment, then probed, Can you find out? The host can scan the past experience and memory of a potential threat to confirm whether or not he has been corrupted by the female lead halo. Su Yin was shocked. The system actually had such a function. She thought that the system's skill points were all in Chinese medicine. Before she could finish being happy, she heard the system add another sentence. As long as the host pays the corresponding favorability points. She knew that this lousy system wasn't easy to talk to. How much? 1 million favorability points. Su Yin was stunned for a moment. He opened his mouth, but before he could react to this inexplicably huge number, he heard the system faintly spit out 2 more words. Once. When did you learn to speak so slowly? The system won't breathe, thank you. Su Yin. I'm actually speechless, so angry. 1 million favorable impression points each time? Are you trying to rob me? Previously, the one-time use good luck halo that she exchanged for only cost 1,000 favorability points. Although it was a little expensive to upgrade it, the seeds that she unlocked were basically worth a few thousand each. Even if it was more expensive, it wouldn't be more than a few tens of thousands. He had only scanned it once, and it actually cost 1 million. Su Yin felt that he had the word sucker hanging over his head, and that he could be ripped off at any time. I suspect that you're raising the price on the spot. I want to lodge a complaint. The system has yet to activate the complaint function. The choice is in your hands. If you don't accept this price, you can also choose not to make the exchange. The hidden meaning was, take it or leave it. There's no way to lower the price. Hearing the system's stiff reply, Su Yin glanced at the remaining favorability points. She gritted her teeth and made the decision, exchange. Although with Su Yin's current situation, 1 million favorability points could actually be earned by opening another live broadcast. But when she heard the system's notification, Su Yin couldn't help but feel a little heartache. She felt that she had been cheated. Chapter 1047. The only thing that could comfort her was that this one-time scan function was worth the money. After deducting all the affection points, the system dutifully turned on the virtual camera and scanned Yin Jihong from top to bottom, inside and out. With this sweep, he really did manage to find some things. Su Yin raised her eyebrows. What's wrong? What did you find? This person has traces of using a system item. System item? Su Yin was startled, and her expression changed greatly. You mean there are traces of using a system item on his body? Someone gave it to him? Wen Jingping? If that was the case, then everything made sense. Before this, Yin Jihong's attitude towards Wen Jingping was neither hot nor cold, even somewhat repulsive. However, after her scandal, not only did Yin Jihong's impression of her not worsen, he even protected her under his wings. This kind of behavior was undoubtedly contrary to his personality. However, if he had the support of a system item, then it was understandable. Even someone as calm as Su Yin could not help but change her expression when she realized this. So, Wen Jingping's body is very likely to have a system similar to yours. From a certain point of view, that is correct. However, there should be some differences. Differences? How are they different? Perhaps they both need to complete missions to level up. The system in the hands of the world's female lead can directly exchange for a tool to manipulate people's hearts. This system can only provide a certain amount of technical assistance to the host. In other words, Wen Jingping's system could earn the same amount of affection points as Su Yin's system by completing missions. Then, she could use these affection points to exchange for a tool to manipulate people's hearts. She could manipulate the target to have a favorable impression of her and use them to complete more missions in exchange for more tools, should I say. As expected of the world's female lead, the system was also different from other people's. This thing could be a virtuous cycle. She did not need to do anything but wait for the excellent supporting male leads to automatically come to her door and beg to give her resources. Realizing this, Su Yin was filled with envy, jealousy, and hatred. She was even more resentful of the system's actions just now. For what you said, the system in her body seems to be even more advanced. The system was silent for a few seconds before faintly replying. System 001 is currently the most advanced system. Host, please do not attack the system personally. Otherwise, the system will take measures to defend itself and cut off part of the security system's technical support in the host's home. Su Yin, this is a threat. A threat. If Su Yin could be threatened by the system's words, then she would not be Su Yin. Listening to the system's exasperated rebuttal, the frustration from the massive hemorrhage had dissipated a little. Su Yin continued to provoke the system's rage points in a good mood. So, you're saying you're the system to Wen Jingping, to the system. That is, since that's the case, you should be able to swallow her system, right? The system choked. It did not expect Su Yin to have such thoughts about the system that suddenly appeared in Wen Jingping's body. You have to see it with your own eyes to be sure. Oh, when I heard you say it in such a dignified manner, I thought it wouldn't be difficult for you. System, don't think I can't tell that you're mocking me. Chapter 1048. The system was enraged by Su Yin's words and shut up on the spot. Su Yin knew when to stop. She quickly turned her attention back to Wen Jingping. However, this is really strange. Since Wen Jingping has such a good thing on her, how could she have played such a good set of cards to such a state today? Although Su Yin was partly responsible for her current predicament, she was not completely innocent. However, if one were to dig deeper, they would find that most of what Su Yin did was just fighting back. She had fallen into this awkward situation largely because of herself. Or is it that her item is only effective on people who have come into contact with it in real life? It has no effect on people who have not come into contact with it on the internet. Hearing Su Yin's words, the system tried to hold back, but in the end, it could not hold back. If the world's female lead has traces of the system on her body, The system will be able to find out if she is in a photo with the host. Su Yiyin was slightly stunned. You mean, when I met Wen Jingping before, you did not notice that she had another system on her body? Could it be that her system is more advanced than yours? So much so that even you could not detect it? Impossible. The system's angry rebuttal successfully amused Su Yiyin. Since that is not the reason, there is only one possibility left. Wen Jingping's system only appeared after the last time they met. Su Yiyin was not sure about the exact time, but judging from the attitude of the men around Wen Jingping, it must have happened before she met Ding Juesi, or even before that. Miss Su? Miss Su? Su Yiyin was deep in thought because of the sudden discovery of a big secret. Her dazed expression was inevitably noticed by the Li family members who had been paying attention to her. Nothing. Su Yiyin seemed to have woken up from a dream. She did not continue to ask the system about the same system and focused on Lianong. Has the surgery time been set? Yes, it will be in a week. Then during this period of time, use this ointment to fade away the scars except for the face. As for the rest, we'll wait until you're done with the surgery and see how well you're recovering. Then, we'll see if there's a need to adjust the dosage of the medicine. The Li family had come here today just to hear Su Yiyin's words. Now that they had heard it, their hearts were much more at ease. They had originally come to express their gratitude, but seeing that it was almost time for dinner, they didn't want to disturb them any further. In addition, many of them had their own matters to attend to, so they didn't stay in the family hall for long. Estimating that it was about time, they got up and bid farewell. Su Yiyin was busy trying to figure out what was going on with the system, so she didn't ask them to stay. Naturally, she didn't know that after they left the family Hua, Luo, Baoging, and Songling Hua were invited into Grandpa Li and Grandma Li's car. The two juniors who had accompanied them were chased to another car. Old Luo, what did you tell Miss Su about Jihan's production team? Why did I see that you guys didn't look too good at the time? Luo Baoging glanced at his old friend. After thinking for a while, he said, actually, it's not a big deal. Little Su was engaged to family Hua before she got married. You guys should have heard about this, right? I know about this. Grandma Li immediately took over the conversation. Not many people knew about the engagement between Su Yiyin and Hua Xiaofeng. However, after the engagement was called off, it caused such a huge commotion. It even involved the cliché plot of a mistress getting married. As a result, their verbal engagement became the laughingstock of many people in high society. Chapter 1049. Not only that, but Su Yiyin had married Hua Xiaofeng's uncle at lightning speed, which had shocked many onlookers. His ex-fiancée had suddenly become his aunt. Perhaps only the person involved would know how bitter it felt. Many people did not dare to talk about it openly, but behind their backs, they shared it as a joke with their friends. Grandma Li had heard about it from an old friend of hers. Mother Li also knew about it. When she heard Luo Baoging suddenly mention it, her heart could not help but skip a beat. Uncle Luo, why did you suddenly mention this? Could it be that the incident with Ji Hong's production team has something to do with this? As soon as she said this, the few people in the car all focused their attention on Luo Baoging. There is indeed something to do with it. There is an actress in his drama, the one that her fiancé found. Mistress? Yes. The Li family's faces changed slightly. How could it be so coincidental? Isn't it just so coincidental? Moreover, after that girl joined the production team, she caused some trouble. What happened? She got involved with a married male actor in the production team. The Li family's members looked at each other and frowned at the same time. If the Li family wanted to know about this, they would naturally investigate it. Luo Baoging did not dwell on this topic. As a friend, he kindly reminded them, this girl seems to especially like to pester rich and powerful men who can help her work. Previously, we did not know that Ji Hong was in the same production team as her. Now that we know, you should take care of the child. Don't let the child take the wrong path and be deceived. Luo Baoging's words were very straightforward. He was a master who liked to hook up with potential stocks everywhere. He did not need to say how outstanding the Li family was. Perhaps they had already been targeted. The elders of the Lee family were all shrewd people. This was not the first time something like this had happened. With In Ji-hong's background, he had the looks, the connections, and the family background. Not to mention in the entertainment industry, even in those rich and powerful circles, he would be in high demand. Since his debut, there had been a lot of girls who had designs on him. It was just that these people simply couldn't enter his eyes. The Lee family believed in their junior's self-control and didn't think that In Ji-hong would be bewitched by such a girl. But now, the person who reminded them was Luo Baogang, and this matter involved Su Yiyin, who was helping Lian Nam with his treatment. They had no choice but to take it seriously. It was actually very easy to find out about In Ji-hong's situation on set. In Ji-hong had an assistant who followed him around 24/7. There was probably no one who knew more about In Ji-hong's situation than him. However, before contacting the assistant, the Lee family and the In family, who had received the news indirectly, contacted In Ji-hong's manager first. Coincidentally, In Ji-hong's manager had been busy with another artist under his management. He knew that no one in the industry dared to provoke In Ji-hong. He wasn't someone who liked to cause trouble, so he didn't ask much after he sent In Ji-hong to the set. He had always been very confident in In Ji-hong. Not long ago, In Ji-hong's assistant felt that In Ji-hong's condition was not right. Only then did he muster up the courage to contact In Ji-hong's manager and explain In Ji-hong's strange behavior during this period of time. Chapter 1050. In Ji-hong's manager didn't think much of it first until he heard the second half. After the scandal between one Jinping and Ding Juesi, not only did In Ji-hong get closer to her, he even planned to act as a middleman to help one Jinping connect with other big shots. The reason why the In family chose this manager was that he was quick-witted and quick-witted. He knew how to judge the situation. Hearing his assistant say this, he broke out in cold sweat. Not to mention whether In Ji-hong was really possessed or not, this matter was definitely related to him. The In family's upbringing was famous for being strict. The children they raised were all upright and couldn't tolerate anything. In Ji-hong wasn't possessed, but he suddenly had feelings for a spoiled girl. As his manager, he didn't realize it after so long. It was a dereliction of duty. In Ji-hong was possessed and was charmed by such a girl. As his manager, he was kept in the dark and couldn't guard against it. It was also a dereliction of duty. Just as the manager was having a headache and didn't know how to deal with this matter, the In family called before he could think of a solution. Mr. In? The manager picked up the phone guiltily. He didn't have much confidence. The In family didn't waste time with him and directly stated their purpose. The manager's heart trembled and he almost threw his phone away in shock. After spending a few seconds to figure out that this matter couldn't be hidden anymore, the manager gritted his teeth and told the In family all the things that his assistant reported. When the In family heard that their youngest son was not only close to a spoiled vixen, but he was also infatuated with this vixen and wanted to use their family's connections to help her get connections and find resources, it was incredible. In Ji-hong's father, the current head of the In family, In Huaifeng, first scolded In Ji-hong's manager. Then, he carefully asked about when Jinping's situation on the set. He found out that this woman was just a female lead and that the scenes related to her had long been finished. Logically speaking, she should have been kicked out of the set a long time ago after causing such a scandal with the male actor in the same set. However, the truth was that when Jinping had shamelessly stayed behind in the name of an exchange study. Moreover, In Ji-hong had helped her with this. When Father In heard about this, he was so angry that he almost fainted on the spot. As soon as he hung up the phone, he rushed to In Ji-hong's workplace and took his stupid son away. It was rare for him to severely reprimand him. He also ordered In Ji-hong to immediately break off his relationship with Wen Jinping and never meet this woman again. This was the first time In Ji-hong's father had scolded his child, and it was also the first time In Ji-hong had been scolded. Mr. In originally thought that his scolding would wake his son up, but he didn't expect his son, who had always been well-behaved and obedient, to talk back to him after hearing a few words. He even had a big fight with him. When Su Yin found out about this, In Ji-hong had already been locked up by the Yin family. It was said that because of him, the Yin family had secretly found a few masters to exorcise him. They felt that his soul had been seduced by a vixen and he had been possessed. After Su Yin asked someone to inquire about the whole story, he was both embarrassed and puzzled. Was In Ji-hong so wild at home? When they met previously, Su Yin could feel the other party's coldness towards him, as well as his occasional absent-mindedness. However, there wasn't much of a conflict in the end. He originally thought that he would be a calm and patient guy, but he didn't expect, as if reading Su Yin's mind, the system took the initiative to go online and clear up Su Yin's worries and doubts. In Ji-hong didn't have a conflict with the host previously because the host was there. Chapter 10:51. Su Yin was stunned for a few seconds before she realized what it meant. She frowned and said, "Are you saying that he's calmer because I'm around and didn't get into a conflict with anyone?" "You can say that. No, what does this have to do with me?" Could it be that she was a tool to keep In Ji-hong awake? In Ji-hong's abnormality originated from the world's female lead. The host has stolen the halo of the world's female lead. In Ji-hong's influence will be suppressed in front of the host, and he will gain temporary lucidity. I see. No wonder In Ji-hong's behavior was so strange that day. She could faintly feel his hostility towards her, but he seemed to be very restrained. He would also be in a trance from time to time. In addition, the skill item used by the world's female lead is not of a high level. She needs to be in contact with the target for a long time and strengthen it again and again to make him have a better impression of her. Su Yin narrowed her eyes and immediately grasped the main point of the system's words. In other words, the effect of her item is not permanent, and it's not even long-term. As long as In Ji-hong is not in contact with her for a short period of time, he will return to normal and no longer be affected by the item. Logically speaking, that's the case. That's interesting. Su Yin's lips curled up slightly, and a trace of interest flashed through her eyes. Xia Junsheng had mentioned to her before that In Ji-hong's initial attitude towards Wen Jingping was not good, and Wen Jingping had created such a big scandal with the male actor in the crew during filming. If it was In Ji-hong's original temperament, he should have hated her. He should have avoided her like the plague and despised her even if he looked at her more than once. However, under inexplicable circumstances, he actually had a good impression of her and even did a lot of stupid things for her that were enough to make him ashamed to death. When In Ji-hong completely sobered up and recalled these things, she wondered if he would be angry and take his anger out on Wen Jingping, the main culprit. If that was the case, there would be a good show to watch. As Su Yin expected, In Ji-hong was quite unconvinced when he was first locked up. Mrs. Yi knew about what had happened to Wen Jingping. Although she didn't agree with what her son had done, her heart softened when she saw that the father and son had quarreled so fiercely. She took the initiative to go to her son's room. She wanted to be the peacemaker and persuade her son to mend his ways and stop being angry with his father. In the end, it would have been better if Wen Jingping had not been mentioned. The moment she did, In Ji-hong instantly lost control of his emotions. After having a conflict with his father, he had a conflict with his mother. Father In was already angry because of his son's late rebellion. When he found out that his son had actually yelled at his wife, he was even angrier. If it weren't for Mama In stopping her, she would have rolled up her sleeves and engaged in domestic violence. Because of this small episode, In Ji-hong's imprisonment was naturally extended indefinitely. However, he didn't sit still and wait for his death. Ever since the day he had a conflict with his parents, he had been on a hunger strike. When Papa In found out about this, he got even angrier. He hadn't even done anything to him yet, but he was already on a hunger strike. Did this little brat feel wronged? If you want to go on a hunger strike, then so be it. Let's see who can outlast the other. It had to be said that the temperaments of the father and son were very similar. They were equally stubborn, and neither was willing to give in first. Only Mama In suffered. On one hand, she felt sorry for her son, but on the other hand, she knew that her husband wasn't wrong. She was in a dilemma and secretly cried countless times. Fortunately, this situation didn't last too long. On the third day after being locked up, Ian Ji-hong suddenly seemed to have been enlightened and stopped his hunger strike. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.